Buddy, I am here today to talk about one of my favorite strategy games. One of my favorite strategy games, and I'm not talking about no poo-poo game that you can still play on an Apple or Android device. No, 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 no. This game's OG. This game is another OG game from my childhood. Now, my stepbrother's the one who got me into this game. He signed me into his Apple ID, downloaded it, just so I could play it. Just so I could play it. And I'm forever grateful to him for that, because this turned out to be one of my favorite games at the time, and to this day you can't play it because they haven't updated it to work with the new iOS, which is fine. It's an old game and it isn't going to attract that much attention. But this game is called Breach and Clear. Now it's a strategy game where you are pretty much an insertion team trying to take out terrorists. And long story short, you can either be good at your job or bad at your job, depending on how good or bad you are at making decisions, with a lot of planning time and a lot of methodology put into this. So there's a couple things that make this game so great and give me such fond memories. First, I want to get this out of the way. It's not the graphics. The graphics aren't particularly amazing, and they're just alright. So, the first thing I want to talk about is level design. This game does a great job of making sure that you feel immersed into each level by making sure each one has its own set of problems, whether that be that there's 3 entrances into a single room and you only have one person to cover it, or let's say, for example, there's a big wall that divides into 2 rooms and there's 3 people in that little room and only one entrance. How do you deal with that? You never know. And I think this game is very clever and very understanding and very accurate in the situations that could occur. If one person walked through a door and 3 people were holding a gun up to their head, you're not coming back. The game would kill you. You would die in real life. That's the way it would work. The second thing, stat distribution. So, in this game, you have a couple of different stats to my understanding. So you have reaction time, accuracy, speed, health, intuition, and evasion. So, obviously, reaction time is how fast you react to a situation. Accuracy is how accurate you are with a gun. Speed is how fast you are. Health is HP. That's how many hit points you have before you go to 0. Intuition. Okay. So this is your soldier's ability to make split-second decisions on its own, which can be helpful. Can be quite helpful. Let's say it hears gunshots from behind him. If you have a high enough intuition, he's going to know, oh, I'm getting shot at from behind. Maybe I should look behind me. It's big things like that. It's really big things like that. Evasion is just how lucky your character is at not getting shot. I mean, yeah, that's really all it is. I mean, it's just how lucky they are. So, depending on how you level these things up, will depend on how good or bad your character can be. If you dump all your points into speed and you give him a shotgun with plus 10 accuracy and plus 50 damage, he's going to be zooming through the map. He's going to get killed right away, as he has good intuition and good evasion. But, that's the decisions you make while you play this game. It's up to you. It's your tactical shooter. So, I guess that leads pretty well into the next thing, which would be the weapons. So, in this game, you have the option to outfit your character with quite a bit of gear. I'm not saying all gear is the best, but I'm saying shitty gear is better than no gear. So there's different things you can put on your guns. Some guns won't allow you to put things on them, but that's a little different. I'll step on that topic in a second. So most ordinary guns will allow you to have an optic, an IR device, grip, a light, suppressor, a gas system, and a trigger system. So optic would be scope. The IR device, I don't actually know. The grip would be like what your character holds onto at the front of the gun towards the barrel. The light would be a light. The suppressor would be a suppressor, you know, makes things quieter. That's an option. There's really only two kinds of suppressor in the game. There's a long, which makes things quieter, and a shorter one, which still makes things quieter, having one off. So like, it's quieter than the option of having one off, but it's not as quiet as the long one. The gas system, like you have standard, competitive, I think, but it's weird. You get like more damage, more noise, it's things like that. So the last one would be trigger, which you have like your stock 2-stage trigger, you have a competitive trigger, and things like that. Which, as you upgrade your guns and components to the build that you want to pursue, whether that be silence, long range, or anything of the sort, you know, you can do that. You just want to make sure that you have your stats in line to assist you when you need it. So, another thing that can help is your clothing. I don't know how much it actually helps. I'll be completely honest. I had no idea. I didn't really mess with clothing too much when I played this game. I got about 10 hours in, beat it. That's all I really cared to do. Now you can also get consumables like defibrillators, breach charges, and lockpicks, which are just devices that'll help you beat the levels a little bit easier. It might honestly make it harder. I mean, trying to get a defib when your guy was sent out alone in the middle of the map isn't the easiest thing to do. It's sometimes easier to just let the guy with the sniper rifle hit his shots and call it a day. So, through all that, I actually don't even know how much this game is. I know it's dirt cheap. I think I bought it for $10, which I wouldn't say there's $10 worth of game here. I'll be completely honest. However, I would 100% say that it is a great time and an understandably rich game for what it's meant to be, which is just, it really is just a shooter. It's a shooter where you don't have control of the trigger. You have control over everything else but that, and I commend it for that. I genuinely enjoy it for that experience, and I think it's unique in that regard. Most games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, you can scream orders at your teammates all you want, but at the end of the day, your teammates are going to do what they want. You can't control their precise movements, how they look, how they see, how they act. In this game, you can. You just can't tell them to shoot. You gotta hope to God they do. To which, I didn't run into any encounters where they're like, oh, I think I'm actually just gonna let this guy shoot at me for 30 seconds while I do nothing. I don't think I ever ran into that. I don't remember that ever happening, but I'm sure there's been some game-breaking bug that made somebody hate the game, but not me. I will forever remember this game as a classic, and I think a lot of other people's will too, but I'm sure you can find a CD key for it. If you want to play it, feel free. It's one of those games that you're not gonna regret playing. You might not enjoy it the best, because you don't actually have control over the trigger, but I think a lot of people will, given how old this game is. It'll run on a variety of hardware. Ran on my iPhone like 6. It'll run on just about anything. I think this game is great. But if you liked the video, leave a like. Maybe comment. Tell me what I did wrong. I know I've been yelling a lot, but that's because I'm just tired and I worked a long shift. But I hope you guys have a nice night.